Hello and welcome back to Gardavania. Yes, yes. This is different than Atlantic City, and if you haven't been following along, you may be wondering, what the heck is this city? Where did you get this from? Well, this is the city before Atlantic City. The one that I was working on for quite some time, and I have been working on it in the background, although not as much as I'd like. The game currently is extremely large, and I'm just waiting for V.67 to release so that I can look at all the new beautiful stuff that's coming. If you're not active in the Discord on Songs of Six, be sure to go check that out, as Jake is now back in the saddle again. If you were unaware, he is a father of, I think, 3 or 4 children. He has quite a few, and I believe that during the day, most of the time during the summer, he's in charge of the little ones that he has to take care of. So active development in the summer is not as good as it is the rest of the year. Which, to be honest, that's fine. The guy deserves a summer vacation, if you call it that. It really isn't, but that's kind of what happens. So now that the end of summer is here or coming, we're going to start to see some really good updates coming for Songs of Six. With that being said, though, I want to go over how Gardavania is doing, what I have achieved so far. As you can see, we are at 10,000 population. I think the last time I was here, I was maybe 8,000, maybe 9,000. I don't know. The population grows very slowly. As you can see, happiness is not the best with certain species here, but then certain other species, it's just really, really good. So I have to work on that. I don't really know what is their biggest detriment, because it says like services. And I'll go in here and you can see they have pretty good services overall. I think that it's the vast majority of them have stuff. There's a few who just don't, and because of that, they feel like ostracized. I also think that they feel like they're not as important as a race, so they get a little bit butthurt too. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, I deal with that by just giving these guys a day off here and there, like especially the Tilapis. I don't know what their problem is. They really hate life and everyone else and everything in it. And they kind of are useless for that reason. They don't serve any purpose in my city. The Amevians do all of the jobs that the Tilapi could do. The Tilapi simply are just not that good. The Amevians are a much better variation of what they are. With their happiness boost just being around water, makes them extremely versatile. So, we're going to kind of go over this the best I can. You have to bear with me, as this is a huge city, and I'm not a professional in any way at city showcasing, and never have been, never will be. But we're going to start here up at the top gate, and as you can see, there's certain spots like this. Still kind of hard to keep degradation. We've spent a lot of knowledge, allocated 1.4 million, 1.04 million knowledge. I have used a lot of knowledge, and that still doesn't really equate to enough to keep the degradation down, especially in certain spots. So like, the next one here is 43,000. We can use that. That's going to help our robustness so that things stop degrading as fast, but it still, even with that, we don't keep up with it. It's crazy. So, our northern entrance, we haven't really changed this. What I have gone and done is, I essentially come through and I will scour over an area, and if there's open tiles or open space that's undecorated, I will go through and decorate it. I have been doing that for quite some time, while I also have people in the background currently building. So, like, if I go all over here, and mind you, I'm going to be jumping around all over the place. So this building here is our massage parlor. It's going in right here. While they're building that, though, I'll go and actually like scour a portion of the map. But most of the northern and northeastern portion of the map, especially northwestern as well, is pretty well decorated. As you can see, I've got all of this in here. And what I do is I'll take a torch and I'll even come through here like this. And so if there's a spot that doesn't have any light, I just put a light down right there. So we can afford to put some lights in this area, and I might do that later, as that's probably going to take me quite some time, but I do want to actually match this one. We'll match it up right here. Do something like that. But that's kind of how I've been doing it. If you have a large city and you've got to this point of the game, I'm sure you have no problems with decoration. But if you're a newer player and you have a problem with decoration, I really recommend you decorate while you build. Don't decorate after you build, because then you're going to have to go back like I have and redo everything. But if you don't mind that, that's perfectly okay. I kind of like to fill in the details. So, as mentioned, nothing has really changed. This is still the northern storage area. We still have all of our storage up here. We have all of our transporters, all of our little bakers in the baker zone here, the bread zone. And the humans and everyone else live around here. Or sorry, the Dundarians, and then the humans live down the street a little bit. And for the most part, this area is a very, very tight-knit clusterfuck. It is not a good service area. It does not have very good access to anything really, other than the few services like this one here I've tucked in here. You can see it's got decent service, but not the best services. What the heck? Why? I guess that's because this one is just too centralized, and that's kind of what happens. So, like, if, for example, you have 4,000 people in this tight little area, let's say, for example, that is really going to affect the services overall in this area. You have to keep that in mind, that the more you cram people, I see a lot of people do this. This isn't ideal housing in no way, shape, or form. I do it because it was the goal for me to get this area just filled out with tons and tons of retirement houses. But having experienced this firsthand, having never built a large city and experienced it firsthand, my theory, my hypothesis was correct, that this is hellish nightmare zone here. You ideally want to separate people a lot. You have a lot of space on this map, and you really can get away with separating people. And I think that the multiracial, especially when you have all of the races, the higher your population, it seems the more unhappy they are. But when I had them sitting between like 5 and 7,000, they're very happy. So keep in mind that the higher your pop goes, the more likely you are to get unhappy. And with that being said, also, we have our titles that we've been going for. So titles are something that if you would like to get, it's better to keep your population small so that you can get those like 75% drink rations. That's not too hard. I think with 2,000 people, you could easily get that. You can see we have like gourmand here. For my 10,000 people, we have 78% food rations, and we have 32 days of food. If we were able to get a little bit more food, we'd be able to get that up there, but obviously we have 5 times the amount of population that is necessary just to get this title. So some of these titles are going to be capped off a little bit harder because of the fact that you have a higher population. So like pleasurer here, I'm going for it. I'm trying to get some of them, but for the most part, I haven't gotten many of them. I did spend a bit of time. I put a bunch of fake Enteldon't pastures down here to get the Enteldon't achievement, and then I also did the same. I'm doing the same with the vegetable farms and stuff, just so that I can get these achievements out of the way, because that's something I really want to do. They're not a lot of people have them. Not a lot of people have them, so it'd be nice to say that the good old Fiend has them. So, as we continue down here, this is becoming the like industrial mountain. This is still the same. Everything hasn't changed. The paper makers, as I call it. You can read it from here, paper maker. But we did continue down the street and add more housing. They left some space in here for another building or two, and then I put another paper maker. Reason why this isn't filled out with more and more workers is because we simply just don't have enough Dundarians. We need more and more Dundarians all the time. And like I said, they're not the happiest people. So, in order to get them happier, we're going to need to do things to make them happier. Like give them better areas than everyone else. More access to statues, better access to temples, better access to everything. And that comes in time. We have this whole portion of the map that is going to be filled out. This is the final real portion of the map that I have to finish. Everything else on the left side is pretty good. And as you can see, we made it down to the bottom southern storage here, which wasn't here before, at least not from my memory. So they're copying the northern storage area, but with a much more organic and open flow. So there's a lot more space for transporters on the side. There's a lot more space for these transporters over here. Sorry about that. We have all of our transporters right over here. We've got our dungeon. We've got some janitors, and oh, that shouldn't be double janitor. That should have been a warehouse. Good thing I caught that. I'll remove that. I'll see you next time. I gotta have to put a actual warehouse in there. I must have not paid attention. And we have our export depots here for any odd assortment of things that comes in here. I'm trying to keep my money up above 1 million. With the import of Piva, Shade, and paper alone, I struggle. I struggle pretty hard to keep my money up there. They are extremely expensive things, and you, unless you're producing them, are gonna suffer. So that's another thing I'm gonna have to start to work on in the next bit that I go into. Is actually getting my refinement zone. So I think that with this space over here, we'll probably fit the refinement. As it goes down, though, we've got the same stuff for this area. I did revitalize this area a little bit more. I give a lot of areas at least 3 to 4 times the amount of wells I think they would need, so that they have good service overall in this whole area. Some of these wells are really overutilized, but that gives them access to other ones, and the same with the speakers. You see I've got at least 4 times the speakers in 2 of the large stages for this area. Just to try to keep this area happy. You can see even fight pits start to get maxed out at a certain point. And it doesn't look like everyone's in there, obviously, but that still doesn't account for what the service levels are, which can be quite obnoxious. So as we continue on, we have our smelters, we have our weavers, we have our tailor, and all these other buildings in between to kind of support them, like jeweler. We've got the mechanic, and we've got the smithy, as well as hospitals, physician in the back here, and all of these little farms that I put in. Their value is just to be here. They don't have workers currently. I don't have enough Kryptonians. I probably could grab a couple more. I don't have enough Kryptonians for all of the farms, but we've gone and we've put places for the Amevians to work. So we've got these fisheries all along the side here, or at least some fisheries on the sides. We've got this little warehouse, janitor, and the Amevian hatcheries. I felt like it'd be really nice to have some houses in here. As a matter of fact, I could actually upgrade these houses. Oops. So that they can have more Amevians living over here. Tightly packed in here. It looks like we just don't have enough cut stone. But yes, I wanted to give these guys fishery jobs. I wanted to make it look like a real city. Yeah, so you can see, like, along these peninsula or these islands, I've really filled them out the best I can. And I especially like to put guard posts on them, kind of as a middle point, as a protection point. And you can see we have guard posts over here. We've got some speakers, a well, and we've started to fill out this whole area with farms. We have fruit farms all throughout here. This is enough space for all of the fruit farms that you need for the title. And as you can see, we also built some housing down here. A little bit of Tilapia housing, a good portion of Kryptonian housing, and then a nice warehouse for them to store all of the fruit from in here. And then we could also put some storage for the vegetables, so that whenever they get their harvest, or whenever this area start to get populated again, they will get that done. Then we have a giant food stall. Of course, you always want to go bigger when you get the food stalls. And then that area is pretty much capped off. It continues up here with more and more farms. And then we have our final middle island here, which really was my, like, power. I felt really good when I was doing this one, just because it looks good. Although this is a weird shaped warehouse. I must not have paid attention to what I was doing. But I put the shrines in here. I got the stage. I got the guard post, a market, food stall, enough housing for the Tilapies to work at this orchard, or at least some of them. I probably should actually upgrade these houses, or I could probably fit more houses over here. But the idea, like I said, was to fill these areas out and make them look good. I wanted them to kind of fit in with the theme. So this is like your orchard island. And then we have the massive asylum buildings. So we have what appears to be 72 times 4 plus 2 more. So that's 72 times 6 total. I'm not going to do the math. You can do the math. For the actual insane people in our city. So whenever an insane person comes over here, they should be dealt with fast enough to keep the population down. So you can see 39, 53, etc. So far, so good. I added these 2 additional ones for another couple hundred and some odd, 150 or so deranged people, and that seems to keep them down. So we've been keeping up with all of the things we really need, other than the base happiness. And as you can see, I went all the way up here, and I finished off this area with a nice food stall. I'll probably put a good market in here or on this side. This might be a good spot for the market. And then we have another vegetable farm, warehouse, some longhouses for the Kryptonians who live here and work over here, and then one of my favorite parts that I really enjoyed putting in was this bridge here. This bridge felt really good to put in as like a curved bridge. I love these organic designs. If I can do them, I will do them, but the biggest reason why I don't do organic designs is because 6 doesn't really require you to. There is no reason why you can't just build grid cities and work that way, especially if your goal is to maximize population and maximize potential from your city. A grid is always going to be a little bit more advantageous than something like these buildings here. As you can see, there's a lot of spare space that gets underutilized, especially in between these little cracks here. And these are small buildings. These are not big buildings by any means. They definitely need to be fixed or upgraded. And I might have to come here as the final change, because this is the new Harmony Zone. They haven't changed either, but I did come through and add little things like this bigger barber. And we did expand our tavern, as well as the restaurant and food services. This area, the University District, gets quite dense. It's hard to kind of explain what's in here without zooming out and then zooming back in very closely. So if I'm moving around a lot, I'm sorry. We have our giant lavatory in here, which services a lot of people. It should be over 300. We have a large dungeon, as well as 3 guard posts here, so that in case any crime happens, and then we also have a jailer, stockade for all of the criminals who might get brought into our city, and then a giant crypt. As you can see, I had to put all these giant statues in. When I built the size of the building, I think it determined how many statues you need. So once you get all of these statues in, you're free to put as many gravestones as you want. You can see we have 131 available in the crypt, which is actually really good. I've never had a crypt where they weren't already full, like, instantaneously. They're quite hard to get going, and they're very expensive. So having the crypt, something that I really wanted to do, and I got it put down here so that it's right in the University District, right off the armor, like where the people are training. So the idea is that if like a general or a noble soldier dies, they'll get placed in the crypt. Someone who's valuable. And you can see most, if not all of them, die from aging or, disease. And then this guy, he was murdered, of course. But the vast majority of people are dying. Holy crap, their names are so long. Obi-Wan Sherlock. They're mostly dying from aging. Wow, 101. Nice. And that is really what's keeping us going. A lot of our people are just happy in general, and you can see that the Talapis are happy again because we gave them their day off. So that's just basically how I've been keeping them going. And then we put a laboratory over here. I don't know why. It happened to be a 6-wide building. So I was like, you know what? That's exactly how wide this type of building needs to be. So I put these little shelves, or whatever they're called, desks in, so that they can have some places to work. Give us a little bit more knowledge. As you can see, we've got another barber and some more physicians. And as this goes down, we've got the university, and we've got our Temple of Authority. And all these other things are pretty much in the same spot as they were before. Putting in more massage parlors for the attempt of trying to get the Pleasurer title, which is hilarious. I love Jake for putting in those little nuances and those little innuendos, because he says at the end of the day he doesn't want his game to be this way, and then he does that. The guy is hilarious to me, and I love it. But with all of that, we've basically just been revamping constantly, trying to decorate, and the only real purpose for this city, and you should see this as well, is whenever you're playing this game, your goal is to have fun. Don't go in and try to prove yourself to someone else, because I watched a guy the other day, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he has quite a magnificent city, and he has some videos out there. You can go check him out. I'll probably, you might comment in here as well, but I'll probably recommend him in the description. I try not to do this very often, though. as it's come back to kind of bite me in the ass a few times, especially not in any way really, but other than mentally, because this is me breaking off the topic for a little bit, but you know, as a YouTuber, you don't really get into this for certain reasons. Some people are different. Everyone has a different feeling on things. So, specifically, old Fiend here, I come off as a tough exterior, but I'm definitely like a soft nougaty inside. A very, very soft, creamy inside, you know, filled with goodness. So it sucks when you see people who you enjoy kind of take a shit all over your work, and this has happened in the past, and this is not me calling out anyone or anything directly, but it's definitely something I'd like to address, because it's kind of why you'll see me start to, as I get larger, avoid just dealing with other people in general. But when there's somebody who deserves the credit, I'm definitely going to always try to give them the credit, and especially the underdogs, the beginners, because I think that everyone deserves a fair shot at this thing I'm doing here, just making videos and having fun. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's all this ever has been. And if you're one of those people who feels that you gotta compete with me, I'm sorry that you do, because I'm not competing for anything. I am having a great time. I am enjoying my dang old time building cities, and also potentially starting to smack people down in Half Sword, because there's going to be a lot of that coming too, and some new intravenous, as I've mentioned. That'll be coming out on the 15th, and these are just little updates I wanted to do for the channel, as this is just my chance to talk to you, the viewer, especially the ones who make it to this point in the video. Main reason why I don't put it at the beginning of the video is, you know, the people who don't watch all the way through are not really going to be the ones I'm targeting. It's the people who've been here through and through. And if you hate when I do this, I'm completely sorry. I will never change. It's just ingrained in me. I like to keep people updated, especially kind of, you know, what's going on. But regardless, don't think that that's me saying like anything's wrong. But I have noticed it a little bit, especially when I help out specific people, and then they find it necessary to like unfollow me on YouTube and stuff like that. I don't care if a regular viewer does it, because they're just viewers, and they have the choice to choose whether they want to view something or not. But when someone who I've helped out like get subs and grow as a YouTuber unsubs from me, kind of feels like they hate me or something, you know. It feels like a big smack in the face. So yeah, that's just me griping for 2 seconds, and it's been stuck in my mind for a little bit. And if you see me become a little bit colder, a little bit more off to myself because of it, just know that's the reason. Because I'm not in this for other people. I'm really in it for I'm not in it for other YouTubers. I'm really in it for the people who are watching, who are enjoying the content and having a blast the same as me. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a video here. And like I said, this is more of a vlog than anything. This is not a it's definitely not in my series type of videos. More of a sporadic example of what's going on, especially in Gardavania, because this is my baby city. This is the city that I have put the most work into in Song 6 ever, period. Point blank, period. I think I've put probably over 40 hours into this city alone, because I started at about 700 hours, and between then and now I'm about 800 some odd hours. So I've been playing a lot of Gardavania, and I can't wait to give you guys it as an example city when V.67 comes out. Anyways, be sure to leave a like, as it tells the YouTube algorithm gods that I am actually valuable. And I notice a lot of people, especially in the 6 videos, don't like the videos, but do watch all the way through. So if you are one of those people who watches all the way through, consider liking the video just to help me out a little bit more. And with that being said, goodbye.